Imagine waking up on a Monday morning with no meetings, no deadlines, and £5,000 hitting your bank account every single month. That's a dream that is regularly painted to us by our clients when they first arrive, and something that we've helped many of them achieve already. But here's the catch. You need to have the blueprint, and you also need to be patient. In this video, I'm going to share with you our buy-to-let blueprint to hit £5,000 a month in rental returns from your properties and how different investors achieve it in a way that marries up with their timeline, and also how you can pick the best strategy for your personal situation. What most people get wrong with investment property is expecting to receive instantaneous results. With investment property, it's not like other more volatile asset classes where you can see extremely high results overnight or lose it all. With investment property, these things are designed to be long-term assets held for a period of time to make you money over months or years. Think of it more like gardening, where if you plant a seed, you don't expect it to grow into a tree overnight, but with a lot of watering and nutrients, eventually it will grow into the tree that you're looking for, and maybe even a whole forest. The results from compounding in this fashion can lead to extremely good long-term results. If you try and rush the process with investment property, you'll end up with bad investments, poor quality flips, and costing yourself money. But if you allow that period of time and nurture for everything to develop organically, eventually you'll get fantastic results and hit that goal of £5,000 per calendar month over a period of a couple of years. With investment property, you simply have to adopt a long-term mindset. This is not something done today for tomorrow. This is something done today for in a decade's time. For the purpose of this video, I thought it could be useful to give some real-world examples and scenarios of different clients and the way they choose their strategy for investments. Each of these examples is a completely different strategy, and when adopted, all of them can deliver fantastic results, but in slightly different ways. But if you want to see how close or far away you are from your investment goal, we've developed a handy rental income calculator. You can plug in your figures and test exactly how long it will take for you to reach that £5,000 a month goal. The first method we're going to talk about to make money from investment property is flipping. Flipping is where you will buy an older, tireder, or distressed asset, add value to it by renovating, and then either resell it for a profit or rent it for a premium because of the higher spec you've now created within the asset. I have a client named David. David's strategy was to flip. David decided to buy a £150,000 old and tired apartment in Liverpool city centre. He spent around about £15,000 on a new kitchen, new bathroom, and redecorating the existing living room and bedroom spaces. David then sold that same property for £185,000 once it was completed, and also debated whether to just keep that property and rent it at that absolute premium price. Now, the pros and cons of this are very, very balanced. Pros being, it's instant capital that can be created after maybe a 3-month renovation at a higher level than you would be able to make in returns from just renting a property for that same period of time. But the drawbacks are you need to be skilled on the tools and able to actually physically do the works, or be good enough with project managing and have the right people around you that they can do it for you. Either which way you choose to do it, that instant capital uplift that can be made can be fantastic for rolling into your next investment. But not everyone wants to be hands-on and get their hands dirty. Let's look at another example that is a slower and simpler path to achieve your target from investment property. The second most commonly used strategy to make money from investment property is regular buy-to-let. Buy-to-let is when you buy a particular property and then tenant it to make a rental return on the money that you've invested. With regular buy-to-let property, you need to aim to buy a property in a high growth area, so hopefully an area undergoing major regeneration. You need to buy it at the right price and ensure that there is a shortage of property in that particular area. And you need to make sure that the property suits the tenant type that will be residing in that particular area. For example, Sophie, a project manager from London, decided she wanted to take the buy-to-let investment strategy as her first strategy for purchasing. She found a property in Liverpool city centre This property was brand new, state of the art, included all the latest mod cons, gyms, spas, cinemas, and could be rented for an absolute premium in the market. She paid £200,000 for this property, and it was rented for £1,250 per calendar month. This property, over a 5-year period, increased in rental value by approximately 5% per year, but also increased in asset value by approximately 6% per year because she bought near to Liverpool's brand new £5.5 billion business district. When buying an asset in a major city centre, you need to not buy the area that is hot right now. Prices peaking. You need to buy into the area that is going to be the next hotspot in that major city. She identified that right now, on the north side of Liverpool city centre, was major regeneration going on, and that was where if she put her money, she knew she would see the highest price growths over the coming 5-year period. Sophie also realised that by using financial gearing, once she made those initial uplifts in value, she could then refinance the asset and use that as a straight line method to get to the deposit level required to buy her next investment piece. And over a 5-year period, with some very clever refinancing, she was able to expand her property portfolio much quicker than if she was saving a deposit at a time. Still, for some people, it taking a decade to get to that £5,000 per calendar month goal is simply too long. Let me show you another strategy that you could implement that will speed this process up a little bit and give you those all-important rental returns and those little extra bits of cash flow that bit sooner. The third most commonly implemented strategy to make money from investment property would be to use short letting. Short letting, much like Sophie's buy-to-let property in strategy 2, requires buying a 1-bed flat, for example, in a high growth area near to tourist attractions and major city centres. But unlike Sophie in the second example, Imran has decided that with his property that he's purchased, he's going to rent that on a nightly rate using platforms like Airbnb. The benefits for Imran renting on a nightly rate means that his gross yield from the investment will be significantly higher because Imran will be renting out the same 1-bedroom flat that Sophie is renting out for £1,250 per month at £200 per night. Now, naturally, this apartment isn't going to be full 7 days a week, 365 days a year. But even if Imran gets a 60% occupancy rate from his 1-bedroom apartment, the gross rental income over the course of the year can be upwards of £40,000. Now, the drawbacks attached to this is that there are some charges on there. Imran will be responsible for council tax, utility bills, and the Airbnb management fee, which is not cheap, but still comes out with a net yield of upwards of £20,000 per year, compared to Sophie, who by the time she's paid her service charge is only coming out with £10,000 per year. Now, this strategy is a little bit more volatile, a little bit more seasonal. In the summer months, the average occupancy rates will be higher than in some of the winter months. And potentially, certain nights of the week will, of course, be rented for higher than certain other nights of the week. There may be a Friday evening where that property can rent for £250 per night, or a Monday where maybe it's only renting for £150, but does also have the benefit of extreme premiums and spikes during periods of time where there are particular things happening in a city. Maybe a football team are playing on a Tuesday night in the Champions League, in which case the nightly rate may be £250 or £300 a night. All of these different variables lead to a fantastic net return as long as you're able to live with the fluctuations in the returns. My advice, if you make the decision that strategy 3 is going to be the right strategy for you to implement, is just be prepared. It will require a little bit more management, and you do have to make sure that you are buying into the right areas for a short-let property. Think of, where will tourists want to be? Where are the nearest concert arenas, maybe? Football stadiums? Where are the nearest big businesses, hospitals, places that have people coming in for shorter periods of time, but maybe longer than just to get a hotel room just for that one night. Maybe they want access to the kitchen facilities because they're staying in the city for a week. All of these things, if you pick the right area, will lead you to higher occupancy rates, more gross rental income, which means more returns going into your pocket. If you want to know which of these strategies could work best for you without going backwards and forwards on which is the best, we've designed a handy rental income calculator. If you plug in your numbers, it will design you the ideal roadmap to retiring at 55 years old with your target of £5,000 per month. The link's in the description. And here's the really important thing. There is no right or wrong answer when deciding which strategy is the best in investment property. They all have different pros and different cons. Whether you choose David's, buy cheap, renovate, and flip, Sophie's long-term strategy of regular buy-to-let investing, or Imran's strategy of buy-to-let investing, but using short-term rentals, they all rely on one thing. If you buy the wrong property, it will take you significantly longer to reach that 5,000 per calendar month goal that you've set out to achieve. You have to make sure you spend the time doing your homework on the right areas to match your specific strategy. Something I would always recommend is get in touch with one of our experts who have years and years of experience of doing exactly this. They can listen to your requirements, identify exactly what your needs are and which of those strategies would be best for you, and then match you up with the right property for the right strategy to accelerate the rate of your growth and get you to that goal significantly quicker. Please make sure you tune into the video next week where I can give you a bit more information on which locations are the right locations for the different strategies you're trying to implement.